This just in out of the NFL, where the Eagles are adding to their offensive arsenal, signing Julio Jones to a one-year deal. The seven-time Pro Bowler spent last season in Tampa, but appeared in just 10 games because of a knee injury. So he's now going to reunite in Philly with fellow wideout A.J. Brown. The two played together for one season in Tennessee back in 2021. Now, the Eagles host the Dolphins this week on Sunday Night Football, but it is still too early to know whether Jones will be able to suit up and make his Philly debut. To talk about this news, Julio Jones, a one-year deal to Philadelphia. Ryan, your initial thoughts when you're hearing about this deal getting done?
This is it. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting development here. Look, they have Devontae Smith. You mentioned A.J. Brown and his relationship going back to Tennessee with Julio Jones, but there's not a lot behind those two players, number one. And number two, this offense hasn't quite looked like it did a year ago when Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator. He of course, is now in Indianapolis as the head coach. Brian Johnson has assumed the OC role, and this team just hasn't clicked. They've been off, it feels like, every single game. They were 5-0 coming into last Sunday's game, which they eventually lost on the back of a 3-interception performance by Jalen Hurts. And Devontae Smith isn't getting involved. A.J. Brown has seemed unhappy at times with his lack of involvement. And you just wonder, is this an effort to jumpstart the offense by any means necessary? Now, the big issue, of course, Jacqueline, is that Lane Johnson, the right tackle, left with a lower leg injury. We'll see how serious that is, because without Lane Johnson, there's some real issues to sort out on this offense. But I think this is an effort to get a 34-year-old with a great track record and perhaps jumpstart an offense that's been pretty flat.
Yeah, Ryan, we've talked about it a lot on HQ that this offense, even though they had a good start record-wise, doesn't really seem like the same offense that we saw last season. You mentioned A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. What else does Julio Jones bring to these pass catchers? Is it just depth, or do you think he's going to take away, I don't know, some targets from them? What do you think he's going to bring to this offense ultimately?
That's going to be the interesting thing, right? Because when A.J. Brown, when Julio was in his prime, he was the number one, not only on the Atlanta Falcons, but one of the best wide receivers in football. He's been something less than that as he's gotten through his career, and understandably so. He's now 34. He'll be 35 in a few months. And I think what he brings is another weapon, another big target for Jalen Hurts. Alameda Zaccheaus is the number 3 on this team behind the aforementioned Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And Julio Jones gives you a bigger target in that sense. That said, he played 10 games last year, had career lows in receptions and total yards, I believe, and the injury bug has been one of the things that has sidelined Julio in recent seasons. So hopefully he's healthy. He should be. He hasn't played for the first 6 weeks. You're bringing him in on this one-year deal. I don't think the expectations are that he comes in and catches 50 balls. I think the expectation is that he comes in, helps you in possession situations, helps move the sticks on 3rd and 5 or shorter, and then you build around that, get Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert more involved, get the running game going a little more consistently, and perhaps help Jalen Hurts get back to the form that we saw a season ago.
All right, Ryan Wilson, we always appreciate your time talking about that news. Julio Jones signs a one-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you so much, Ryan. We appreciate